Minecraft, but there is a fun type of challenge, but it often relies on a mod or data pack the viewer can't experience because the YouTuber is scared of being stolen from, which is why I love the Endless Challenge and why I'm also giving you 5 seeds to use as much as you like if you want a new experience, because who doesn't want to try a golden island, or a challenge to take down 5 hostile structures at the exact same time, or the ability to jump into a 230 block hole that will lead you to survive in an entirely different way, kind of like the 404 challenge. Here are 5 interesting challenges that you should try if you're bored, and I'll start with a very cliched classic, but with a fun little twist, because have you ever considered Survival Island could be more fun if it was a jungle survival island, and have you considered that could be even better if there was a jungle temple waiting there for you the moment you spawned in? This would be pretty fun by itself, but there's also a desert temple right here. In case this isn't a fun enough survival island concept for you, how about the Mushroom Island Line? The Line is an ambitious but memed upon project from Saudi Arabia who are attempting to build a city in the middle of desert, but one which is a very linear city, i.e. literally a straight line. What if you could have this for a survival island? Well, of course that would be impossible, especially if you wanted it in a fun biome, except I'm just kidding, this is Seed Sunday, and look at this, it is a mushroom island that represents the line. It is a very, very, very fun example of this, because usually Minecraft biomes are big blob circles, more or less, but this one is actually a very, very, very boxy rectangle, and as you can see, it is very, very wide, but very, very, very thin. The reverse showed Minecraft Survival Island, if you will, and that is very fun by itself, but you know what's more fun? The potential for a golden survival island. And if you don't know what I mean by that, well, consider this spawn right here, which is in the middle of a mesa biome. By itself, this would already be an interesting enough spawn point for many, because the mesa biome is absolutely beautiful to look at. However, this isn't just any ordinary mesa biome, although you do get some coal at spawn, which combined with your sticks is almost enough to make something fun, but indeed, this is a survival island made up entirely of mesa and desert biomes. The end result of this is not just some beautiful vistas from the top of the island, and indeed some even better ones from around it, but instead the fact that this means that you have easier access to gold than you do to wood. This presents you with an immediate challenge that you have to solve, and there is an obvious way through it, but for the fun of it, I will not be mentioning it, and instead you can try and work out how you want to survive on this Mesa Island survival with all the gold a person could ever want. And so once you get an iron pickaxe, you effectively have all of the bartering you could ever want, and so one of the easiest completions of Minecraft, but getting to the iron pickaxe is several times harder than almost any other seed, so good luck. However, that's not the only type of challenge you can do. Instead, it's just one I wanted to give an honorable mention to, because another fun type of challenge would be this seed, because it looks fairly normal when you spawn in, besides the huge savanna islands, but let me assure you it's anything but, because if you just head to these coordinates, you'll find a woodland mansion in the middle of a giant lake in the middle of a mesa biome. Pretty beautiful by itself, but even better than this is that little hole you'll find over there, which I have to investigate, and so... Because if we just ignore the shipwreck and the village, which have generated right by here, giving you some very interesting desert villages, you'll find 2 scarecrows, which will usually only generate outside of pillager outposts, and you know, that's funny because we're definitely not in one of those right now, except maybe, just maybe, we are. So if we are to go through a little bit of a weird process and try and climb in here, I think the only way through is probably where the zombies are actually. Well, you'll notice something very interesting at this point, which is, wow, there is a pillager killing a zombie, but there is in fact a pillager outpost hidden inside of this mansion, giving you a double challenge and giving you the only place in Minecraft, I believe, where you can easily encounter both pillagers as well as vindicators and evokers. They're all different types of pillagers. Oh, I'm definitely dead now, huh? They're all different types of the same mob, but encountering them in the same place is remarkably rare, and on Bedrock, being able to heal and fight from this is very challenging. On this particular seed though, I feel like it's a bit easy to just set your spawn point down somewhere. You know, I'll even do it inside of the pen just like that, and then you could get yourself some easy food, and you know, realistically you could go right in and do that. However, if you wanted a bit more of a challenging version of this structure collision. You could also try this seed, which has a similar spawn and sadly a similar trek out if you want to explore the interesting structure collision. These were both found by your local knight, by the way, one of those incredible new seed finders, have to give some serious credit to, while also mentioning that this is just a normal looking seed until some of these seeds show that Minecraft can be broken in a way that is genuinely enjoyable, or at least genuinely a challenge to the right type of player, because look at this seed right here. From above, it already looks messed up, and the way ocean monuments generate definitely lead to this sort of weirdness to exist, but this isn't just an ocean monument of the normal type, which would be a challenge to take down by itself because of how ridiculously OP Bedrock Elder Guardians can be, but also it's the interesting thing you'll find just below, which from the outside, it looks like it's just some random stones, right? However, after digging inwards a little bit, you'll notice something very intriguing down here, and that is that after a few blocks of digging around on the right end of the ocean monument, you will find this. That is right, this is an end portal room, which, as you can see, has a silverfish spawner perfectly functioning and not underwater right next to the ocean monument. That means that if you come here in survival, which you very much might want to do, you'll immediately get this effect on you, which will make it near impossible to actually go through the end portal. And so if you actually want to beat Minecraft on this seed, it requires not just getting IFenders, not just finding your way through a stronghold and making it work, but also taking down an ocean monument first, which is a fun way to combine a part of Minecraft, which is currently optional, with a part of Minecraft that feels like it's not. Although I guess you could argue, no one can tell you what you can and cannot do. The whole game is optional, and in that case, you might find it a fun option to also take down the rest of the stronghold, while also keeping in mind your massively reduced knockback speed, which I just think is absolutely hilarious. However, what I also think is funny is this next seed, which spawns you into a jungle. Jungles are known for being pretty high up places. I mean, you spawn usually around 60 to 70 on the y-axis. In this case, we're in 86, and there are trees here that will take us all the way up to 120 blocks in some cases, 116 here, and 131 in this case. This is an incredibly tall point where you get a very good view, right? I mean, it's everything you need to know about this seed. Definitely nothing interesting else going on here until you look at the sky. Wait, really? Wait, what's happening over there? Huh, there really is just a floating island up here, and it oddly has a surprising number of dirt path blocks, and then there's water behind that. In fact, when you go to the very top, you can see jungle blocks here, exposed ores in ridiculous quantities, because this is where they generate the most, but then also a giant body of water. This looks like one of those bugged trail ruins, but there is no trail ruins in sight. There is no giant waterfall down. Instead, this is just a bizarre floating island, and a bit of a challenge. How long can you survive from the very top of here? I would recommend going in with a bonus chest, but even that isn't technically required because of the wood right here. What can you do using just this sky island? I don't know, but I know I want to try so bad. And if you fall down, you'll fail, and to make it even worse, a pillager will come and shoot you just to make you feel bad about daring to try so. I think that is beautiful, and maybe you do too. Also, yeah, I love the fact that this is a jungle biome, so you'll get these ocelot-clad villagers, something which is a real nice feature, although down here, they're all gonna die, so sorry, mate. Never mind, I guess I take that one back. So I'd like to apologize for how many outposts have featured in this challenge video. I know that if you're looking to challenge yourself, you might think that they're a bit easy, but actually they're one of the hardest structures to cheese, which is why I figured this seed would be an interesting example, because you can choose to use the village or you can choose not to, but in either case, it's going to be very hard to take down the pillager outpost, because that is where it sits. Just for anyone who's keeping track, this is 63, the layer at which water spawns in your Minecraft world, and this is layer 163, still very, very far below the pillager outpost, which has perched itself so perfectly on top of the desert temple. Even if you bring yourself a lovely bow or trident or crossbow or any of these long-range weapons, trying to get it from this distance can be seriously hard, and if you try to stack yourself up there using ladders or any other technique like that, you can probably imagine exactly how that's going to go, but just in case you can't, let me show you right now. Okay, never mind. Let me try getting it first. then you're immediately going to be thrown out of the frying pan and into the fire because, oh dear God, there are so many pillagers and they are immediately ready to murder you. Getting up here and doing so without a large amount of loot can be a serious challenge, and that's before considering enchanted crossbow pillagers. That's before considering all of the silliness that might come with a trip up here, which is why I would recommend making sure you do very much the opposite. Although, it looks like I found an easy way to kill pillagers, and also it's really fun that just in the base of this desert temple, you can find a whole parallel society of villagers, which I think is absolutely beautiful. Do you want a silly one-shot challenge? Instead of spending, hours on surviving something, do you want something that is simply 10 minutes? Can you get in? Can you get out in time? This might be for you. I mean, we live in a time where a 13-minute YouTube video can be too long sometimes, even when it's something you really care about, and so maybe in the same way, maybe an hour is too long for a Minecraft world nowadays. This seed will be the test of that concept, because it is pretty fun otherwise, but this is the main fun challenge. But if you want something a bit longer lasting, if you yearn for the old days of the 404 challenge from Minecraft Alpha, then maybe this next one will give you something similar. This last seed is a beautiful reminder of the Caves and Cliffs update. When that update was fresh, seeds like this were wild. Seeing a mountain range on one side, having a mountain range on the other side, and having a beautiful valley which was begging you to build in the middle was something that was enough for many people, and many of those seeds ended up looking like this, and people might not have even realized what they held within them, because if you just go to the top of the mountain you spawn behind, this will involve going over some mossy cobblestone, this will involve breaking some powdered snow, but trust me when I say it's worth it to climb this mountain, and that's because when you do, you don't just get a beautiful view, because at these coordinates you'll find something new, something which will change you, because it is a 200 block full gap. This is something which is really wild, and if you, I can't believe I messed that up. As I was definitely doing just fine the first time, let me show you what is in this cave all the way down in the negative layers of your world. Well, obviously there is a deep dark biome, but there is also a deeper, darker challenge at foot here, because trying to survive in this hole with nothing else is actually quite the pickle. It's not as hard as it seems at first, because there is a lush cave to be found, and if you're willing to traverse a bit further, even an ancient city down here, but the fact that you can jump into a hole which has a brand, by the way, your spawn will be really far out here, so you actually are encouraged not to die in a very massive way, but the fact that you can have a challenge which is so huge and broad and which has such a fun jump point in means that if you want something just to start in an interesting world to later jump out of it and have something else, this might be the challenge for you. As for exactly how you should get through this particular challenge, I would recommend going just a little bit deeper at first. This seems very wacky and weird and honestly might put you at risk of being on a warden's radar, so keep that in mind. But if you just head through the cave far enough to find a lush cave and a skeleton anywhere in proximity to each other, well, all you've got to do is kill said skeleton. This is easier said than done, keep that in mind. But if you can just kill the skeleton without dying yourself, something I intend to do, you better believe. Okay, here's my plan. He's gonna climb back up here, and every time he tries, I'm just gonna punch him. Okay, this is not going as favorably as I thought, but here's the fun thing. If you can just kill a skeleton without having any wood, then you can use the skeleton to get some. Not because he is the mystical wood provider. I think that stopped a long, long time ago when he became a skeleton, but instead, I think it's because of the fact that you can use this simple bone or two to create yourself some wood when you're in a cave. This is a useful survival tip everyone should know, but fun fact, bone meal plus azalea tree equals free wood. Wait, let's make sure there's no leaf near that. Free wood, which you can then use to make more wood, and so on and so forth, which means you can then survive in the caves much better. If for whatever reason you're allergic to this notion of success, then what you could try instead is coming to an ancient city, which is a very good idea. I don't think there's any risk to coming in here. It's a suspiciously dead place. Have you ever noticed there's like no mobs in here? I'm sure that's not any spooky foreshadowing, but you'll find wood just over here, which is also the start to the tech tree, which will be very handy because I hear I hear you might want to have a weapon if you're in this area. So let's go ahead, let's make some planks, let's go ahead and turn that into a crafting table, and let's craft our way out of this predicament we've got ourselves into. Okay, I've heard this game is called Minecraft, and so here is my genius solution, right? I place the crafting table down, and then I'm gonna craft myself a solution to this problem. I'm not sure any of these recipes work right now. Ooh, I'm sure I'll find one though. You know, And like I said, you'll spawn outside of the cave as a true reminder that you're in the outside world again now, something which makes the hole just particularly fun. No matter how advanced you get in this survival world, sending people into the hole could be a fun recreational activity for you, and that's something I would totally recommend. If you want to bring out your inner, like a socialist dictator, then that is, as we all want to do sometimes, right? Let's be honest. You can either roleplay on Twitter talking about your favorite policies, or you can go ahead and you can send people into the hole in your Minecraft world, just like how I've got a hole in my Minecraft heart, which can be filled by you subscribing to this channel if you like to see Minecraft challenge related videos, because for now, I've been IBX Toycat, and I'll see you in the next video, assuming I don't change my name. Bye!